really want, what you really want. Say what you really want, what you really want. Say what you really want, what you really want. Gotta give me what I don't got. If I don't got, I ain't gonna stop. So what you really want, what you really want.
People, you think that it's easier when you start in your own hometown to start selling your product and to start your business, and it seems like people are going to be supportive because it's like that's where you grew up. But it's actually the opposite. So if you can talk a little bit more about that, because I have my own answer to that. Like yes, I agree.
Yes. So creating a new business or creating a business at all in your hometown, a lot of people looking from the outside feel like you're going to immediately receive support, whether that is from like local neighbors, friends, family, people at your parents' job. People make it seem like this is a fundraiser, like you were in school again and your parents are going to do the work for you as far as getting clientele. But it's not like that. Starting a business in your hometown, you have to rebrand yourself. You have to reintroduce yourself, show why you should be taken seriously, introduce what you're about and what you stand for. You're not the little kids sitting on the corner trying to sell lemonade anymore. Yes, you're in that same neighborhood and you may have like the same audience, but you're trying to introduce something different to them. It is a struggle, but at the same time, it's just a challenge. It's a challenge that you'll feel proud once you surpass. Like, okay, now they see me as something else, something that has blossomed into, as I mentioned, the little girl 5-10 years ago walking to school. At least that was who I was. So now starting a business, I would like my neighborhood, my community to see more of my direction as far as where I'm going, more so than who I was 5-10 years ago.
Yeah, that's really powerful, because I feel like I've felt maybe like a similar frustration of like, okay, I was born in San Leandro, raised in Hayward, I went to school here, graduated from high school, then I went to San Jose State, and then I came back. And so, you know, starting a business here, I really felt, I don't know, I think it, more than anything, what I'm trying to get over is my own mental state of like, because sometimes I feel like I'm still in high school, like that I'm still that same girl, even though I've like done so much work to like move beyond and create something different. I still feel like that girl, and I think that's what kind of gets in the way of me being more successful in my business. But I feel like I get what you're saying in terms of like, sometimes it feels so hard because the people, I don't know if it's like people feel, because I have felt this, like I see people from my own hometown doing things, and sometimes I feel like, oh hell no, like they're doing way more than I am, or like I should be at that level or whatever. And like sometimes it's kind of like crabs in a bucket type of mentality of like, okay, we're all from Hayward, but we're all trying to like pull each other down instead of like bring each other up, you know. And so I've been trying to surpass that feeling. I don't know if it's just part of being human, that it's like you feel envious and you feel like upset when you see other people that you know, that you grew up with, doing better than you, because it's not so much about them, it's about you. It's about how you feel and like your own bullshit that you have inside, right? And so I feel like yeah, that's why now I'm understanding why people say you need to leave your hometown, you need to like grow and do your thing, and then you come back when you're like, when you are doing what you feel like you should be doing, right? And so that's really interesting that you brought that up, because you know, sometimes it feels like I'm the only one kind of going through this, like but it's I'm not, like there's, I think, plenty of people out there that are doing
and there's a lot of people who are trying to do something different. Now people's version of different is pretty much the same. So there are a lot of times that we do feel envious of others, whether it's like, for me, I'm building a fashion line. There are so many other people building a fashion line. You have Ambitious Girls, who's now called Just Live, and she does amazing, and she works with amazing people. You have Federal Inc. You have all these other people who are trying to build a line out of nothing, but you just see them and you see like different growth levels. But at the same time, you have to look at yourself, or also I have to look at myself and see where I'm at. What step am I at? I may be at step 10, but I'm looking at them on step 30 and being like, dang. But at the same time, it's just like, they're not at the same level that you're at. They're just like at an aspired level. As far as people like in our city trying to do the same thing, and we're like, dang, I'm not at their level yet. Honestly, Realty works with a lot, or at least attempts to work with a lot of local artists, whether that's local photographers, whether it's local models, music artists, podcasters. We try to work local just because, honestly, to make money, we just have to be recycling our money amongst ourselves. Because if we keep giving to like the bigger people or
just corporations.
Yeah, I was trying to say the white man.
Or the white man.
The corporate. We just keep giving to corporations. We're never going to get our money back. We're never going to see an investment. We're never going to see a profit. But once we start recycling our money and our time amongst ourselves and each other, then that's how we're going to grow. So sometimes I even donate and purchase things that, honestly, that I don't really use, but just to help another entrepreneur with it, just to like kickstart. Whether it's buying a $10 folder or going to a movie night and donating $5 there. Sometimes I just do that just to help that entrepreneur. It's not like, sometimes I do catch myself like hating, like, dang, how did they meet that person though? But at the same time, it's just like, all right, so when I'm at that level, I see them at level 30. So when I'm at level 30, I'm about to meet somebody like that. So it's kind of like there are envious moments, but we just have to like be mindful of where we are, where they are. And just think of ourselves like we're grateful for the level that we're at, and when we're at that level, like we're gonna appreciate it so much more.
Yeah, and I think something that's very key is that we are the only ones, like we are unique. Like everything that we have to offer is ours. Like we have our personality and we have our individual strengths, and we're the only ones that really know how to do the things that we want to do and create the business that we want to create in the way that we want to create it, right? And so I feel like that's really key in building a business, because it's even with like the circle of like support that I have, right? Like everyone's doing, sometimes I kind of fall into, even with my own friends, I fall into this like sense of like, why did they make it look so easy? Like, why can't I do blah, blah, blah? And it's like, I just have to catch myself and be like, no, stop. Like they're going down their path and they're inspiring you to kind of like figure out how to do your own stuff, right? And so I think that's very key to kind of combating like that feeling that we have, right? That I deal with, you know, I hella deal with that shit of like damn, like I hella supported them, not even just with friends, but like in general, like I hella, you know, because sometimes I feel some type of way about like, I always go to San Jose and I feel like I support like shows, like local shows, but it's like nobody really comes to Hayward to like do the same, right? It's very few people that do that. So it's just recognizing the people that do that, I appreciate you. Like the people that have come from like wherever, like Hollister, like I just talked to Arturo earlier from like, now he's doing his own podcast called Barrio Voices. And it's like, he came from Hollister and like came through but it's because I had already gone to Hollister over there, right? And so it's like, you know, it's nice to build on those relationships of people that see you, you know, that really recognize what you're trying to do. And I think that's what helps get past that frustration of like, man, dude, I'm doing so much work, but it feels like nobody really gives a fuck, you know? So it could be very frustrating, but I think just, it's very key, like who we surround ourselves with, like who are we giving our energy to? And it goes back to that conversation that we were having about like reciprocal, like, you know, if I'm giving to you, that shouldn't be the end goal of a relationship, but it should be something where it's like, are we having a reciprocal relationship, or are you just taking, and I keep giving because I care so much, you know? So I think we have to be really careful about that, because our businesses, like, we are the business, us as people. I was talking to Devonte Harris. He's actually from San Jose, but he lives here in Hayward, and he does it's primary printing company, and he does like shirts and things like that. But I love talking to him because he's so energetic and he's so real about like, and he's just fabulous. Like I love him, like his energy, everything. He's amazing. But he was talking about how like people buy into the business because of us. Like we can be doing anything, but really it's like people buy into it because of us. Like if you put up a video, if you put up a photo, if you put up any piece of writing to promoting your business, whatever, it's like people buy into that, you know? And I think that that's something that I have to remember, that like, you know, my business doesn't work if I'm not well. So it goes back maybe to that conversation about mental health, right? Like you care about mental health. but you have to care about your own mental health for your business to be sustainable over the long term. You know, and so you've talked about recognized royalty, you wanting to eventually connect with like mental health organizations so that your business could provide, you know, financial support like to those organizations. So if you could talk a little bit more about like, well, why do you care about mental health and why is it important? Why connect your business in such a way to those types of organizations?
For sure. So the reason why recognized royalty cares so much about mental health, because the founder, myself, has dealt with it growing up, is being in a verbally abusive, mentally abusive, whatever you have it. There's multiple types of abuse that goes on in a household where when you surpass a certain age, whether it's while you're in high school or when you surpass high school, people question why you do the things people question why you do some of the things you do. People question why you respond the way you do, why you act the way you do. But it all comes down to the way we were raised. We weren't raised, some of us were not raised with normal or fit parents, but we just had to make our way. And I was blessed enough to be able to find my way. But there are others that I see don't always have the same path, or it's not as smooth. Their path isn't as smooth. Not to say at all that my path was smooth, but everyone's path is really different. But I wish that I had help, I had guidance, I had someone that cared when I was younger. And let's just say like 10 years ago, I wish that I had someone like me to help me back then. So recognize royalty is to recognize your own self-worth, to realize your potential, the value within yourself, and not just within yourself, along with within others. Because once you like have respect for yourself, you tend to want to have respect for others. Like, people who respect themselves aren't going to put other people down. People who put other people down are fighting something within themselves. So the reason why we want to give back to mental health communities is because we all need help, but it's not always given. There's a lot of stigma that goes behind people who've been diagnosed with being mentally ill. Once people say they're mentally ill, then it's like, oh, that's the reason for all their problems. That's why this happens. That's why this happens. That's why they don't have this. It's like, but that's not the case. It goes back to the roots of where you came from. How were you raised? How were you treated? And then once you're an adult, you're just left with the results. No one really cares about the how or the why. So it's important that we bring some kind of awareness. It's important that we discuss the topic in an open manner, not in a joking manner, not in a why did this person shoot up a place manner, but like in a manner where just like, okay, let's get down, like let's get to the root of this. And that's why, I suppose that's why Recognized Royalty would like to give back, because the conversation is not spoken about enough, and there's not enough people giving back. So I feel like, I know we're not the start of it, but I feel like this would be a good start.
Yeah. And I think that that's a really good model for other organizations, you know, other businesses to be able to think about, you know, just how, you know, whatever profit you make, obviously you need to take care of yourself. You have bills, you have, you know, whatever you need to take care of personally, but at the same time, like, how do you use your profits, especially when you start growing and growing and growing, how do you use your profits in a way that's actually going to give back to the community, so that it helps people that need help, right? And so I think that's something that's very key, that hopefully anybody watching out there, right, can like pick up on, like, you know, you can build your business in such a way so as to help the community, right? So that's really cool. Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, awesome. I'm thinking right now about are you familiar with like Hannibal Buress? He's a comedian. He does a podcast as well, and like sometimes I tend to get like really serious about like whatever conversation, and it's like he just kind of reminds me to like just relax, dude, like let it go, like, you know, it's cool to, it's good for us as people to just kind of like laugh and take it easy and breathe. And I know that we feel very passionate about our businesses and growing. I know I do for sure, and you too, but we need to like kind of step back and have that fun, you know, and enjoy life and be present as well.
What's his name?
Hannibal Buress.
Hannibal Buress.
He's a comedian. Yeah, he's funny. But
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah.
The podcaster that I listen to is Case Kenny, but he's not a comedian. He's just like a podcaster.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually listening to him on my way over here. But that is someone who like reminds me to be mindful. Like, yes, you have a business, but you have yourself to take care of. Like, if you're not well, how are you supposed to run a business that's beyond well? So,
oh yeah, for sure.
Case Kenny is my go-to, but I'll have to check out Hannibal Burris. I don't know what I put.
Hannibal, like Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
And then like Burris, I think it's 1 R or 2, but it's 2 S's. Burris. Yeah.
Okay.
But who inspires you, like in your business mindset?
I honestly don't have a single person who inspires me. I used to have someone who inspires me, but I honestly don't. There are key elements from people that I take. Like, for example, my younger brother, who's really passionate about music. Honestly, he has many passions, but so far his passion about music has been really inspiring to actually push me to push royalty, even to get more product out, just because he questions me, like, what are you doing? Like, what are you producing? What have you been working on? And I'm always working on something, but I don't always put it out there. I don't always share it with the world. I don't always like make myself vulnerable. But since he's always asking me, he's always like wanting to see results, always wanting to see something. I've been putting things out there. And I mentioned Ambitious Girls, which is now called Just Live. The creator of that, her name is Olivia, and she inspires me to, again, put myself out there, but in a way of getting out there physically, whether it's taking trips. My first retreat was in LA. I've been to LA multiple times since. Obviously, it's not too far from us, about 5 hours. But as far as like business trips, I've made my LA trips more purposeful. I've had the opportunity to go to China, again, for like a business purpose, putting myself out there. Honestly, again, going back to starting a business in your own hometown, it is good to get out there. I didn't find love for my city until I left my city and I went to a completely different state. I honestly went for school, but when I came back, I found appreciation for my city. And just like you mentioned, you were born in San Leandro, but basically like grew up in Hayward. You going to Hollister, Hollister Salinas, I forgot which one you mentioned.
I went to Hollister for at that time it was for the Barrios podcast.
Okay, for the podcast. Even you going there for the podcast just opened so many doors. That's not necessarily even like leaving the country or the state, but that's city, branching out there. You going to Hollister and doing that podcast, and you met Arturo, and then you brought him to Hayward. I'm from San Jose. You even went to San Jose, and I met you in San Jose. Then I came to Hayward and met Arturo so neither one of us were from Hayward, and we both met in Hayward. So it's like getting out there is key, but like like for myself, I do work in the city that I live in and that I was born in, but I did branch out. I don't know why. I know why, because I wanted to. But ultimately, like, I came back to my city. This is just where I feel comfortable and most productive because I know where things are. I can work efficiently. But getting out there is so crucial. Just so you can, like, expand. You can reach out to so many people. You can bring people to your city. Even if you're, like, dragging them from their city to your city. Like, it's so important for so many reasons to get out there. Even if you do come back, but to get out there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, that networking is always going to be really key for anything, you know, whether, I mean, if we're focusing specifically on talking about business, then that's what it is. Like, you need to, like, be willing to talk to people about your business and what you do and show them who you are. That's the main thing. Like, you're the face of the business, you know, so being able to connect with people. You know, I went to a concert in San Jose one time for Rudy de Anda, and he's from Long Beach, and I had already, because again, like, HayStack Mujer, for anybody that is not familiar, it's a global media platform for storytelling, culture, entrepreneurship. What I want to do and build it into is exactly that, you know, a platform where people around the world are connecting with, that's like the place to go for Hayward culture, you know, and I want people from Hayward, artists from Hayward, for the scene to be really strong here, for the platform to be built here, for them to not feel like I have to go elsewhere. Sometimes that's going to be necessary, because I did that. I went to San Jose State, and it was important for me to be over there for 5 years to kind of get the idea of like, oh, they're like so active socially, culturally, politically. Like, I want that type of energy in Hayward because we have our own energy, we have our own vibe, right? And so how do we create that? And so sometimes it is going to be key for people from Hayward, especially when you're graduating from high school, whatever, for you to leave. But hopefully people feel like, oh, I can come back and keep building in my city because there's already this platform, this structure there where I can launch off into the world, right? Like, whether it's like you're a musician, whether you do a fashion line, whether you're a photographer, whatever type of art you create, art, music, whatever, I want there to be a community of people there. And at the same time, I feel like, I mean, all of that, building that platform, it's part of fighting back too, because there's gentrification already happening here in Hayward, where to the point of like people need to leave because they can't find work that pays them their worth. They can't find a stable living situation where they're able to pay for that situation, right? That housing. And so it can be very frustrating where you're trying to build in your city, but everybody's kind of leaving. And so you're having to kind of consistently build new bonds with people because everyone's leaving, right? And like whatever kind of group you build, people feel so bogged down by life that they can't even like, you know, give time to make a change, right? To create that social justice community and art community and things like that. So anyways, all of that to say that, you know, that's where I'm at. That's the wavelength I'm at. And, I hella went on a whole tangent, but I was talking about Rudy Leanda, his music is actually pretty awesome. I've been to like 2 of his concerts. His shows and the one in San Jose, like, because that's what I try to do is like I post things that even if it's not my content, I try to post like, hey, this is happening in San Jose, right? To kind of show people like someone from Hayward cares, sees you, cares about you, like even if you've never been to Hayward, like you fucking know that I'm here, right? And so I went to his concert and I met him. He's like, hey, so you're out, you know, I was like, oh, I'm Rosado from HayStack Mujer, right? And he was like, is it just you or like many people? I'm like, no, it's just me, you know. And he's like, oh, thank you for posting that, you know. And it's like we now have that connection of like, you know, and I feel like that's happened multiple times where it's like people are like, you came from, like when I go to San Jose, like you came from Hayward, like okay, that's cool, like, you know. Or other places where I go to visit and people are like, oh shit, you came over from Hayward, like yeah, you know, because that's the type of connections that or the community that I'm trying to create of people supporting each other, so that when it comes to my time, like I hope that I put in enough work and late work for y'all to see like, or to come through and like feel strongly enough about me that you're gonna want to support me, right? And so again, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of like believing in yourself, because sometimes we don't want to believe that people are willing to pay us our worth. Like if we put on our own show and we charge $10 at the door, I've had so many barriers about like so much, how would you call it? Like, I guess, like I need to believe that people are willing to do that for me because I've done it for other people. You know, I've paid to get into shows or whatever. So it's like, why can't I believe that other people would do the same thing for me, you know? So, and since
gentrification is so significant in the Bay Area, no specific place, but throughout the Bay Area, since it's going on, I feel like it's important for us as entrepreneurs to continue to introduce ourselves. And like, yes, we're entrepreneurs. Yes, we're from Hayward. We're from San Jose. But we're like people who are still trying to build. For me personally, I live in San Jose and I'm trying to build in San Jose. So it's almost inspiring for some people who just see it like, how are you even able to live in San Jose, let alone start a business? So the fact that that's their question, it's like, okay, so let me show you how to do it. This is how, and it may not be like steps that they want to know or steps that are like directly related to them, but it's just like enlightening them, like, yeah, it's not the easiest, but here's how I went about it. And it's kind of giving them hope. They start off with like curiosity, interest, and after they hear about it, now it's like hope. So I love when I see even more entrepreneurs just come down the woodworks in their own city when they're passionate about it. I'm not speaking of the people who are like trying to get rich quick and trying to just throw something out there. I'm not speaking on that. I'm not speaking on like, all right, I'm just gonna start a drop shipping business so I can make some money. Like, no shade to any of that, but I'm talking about people who like have a passion for something and who are working on it like full-heartedly. To be working on it in your own city. And yeah, we do have to branch out, but it's really important too, because like you have experience. Hayward is so different from San Jose. Like the communities, the people, and it took me like 40 minutes to get here, 25 from Milpitas. But we're not that far from each other. And me being born and raised in San Jose, California, never really left California until I went to college. I learned like, whoa, on the East Coast, I felt like we were in a different time zone. I just thought everybody was like, the Bay is nothing like SoCal, but California itself is just so different from any other state, which I'm sure every state is different. But it's important for people to at least once or twice, if not more, get out there, get out of their own hometown, get out of like what they're used to see something else, because it's not just like what they're used to seeing. And it's important to see what other clientele, potential partners are out there, so you can act appropriately, accordingly, because just like, I don't know, growing up, not everyone acts the same in your household. Not everyone on the outside acts the same as the people in your household. Yeah. So getting out there and like seeing how other communities interact can be inspiring. You can bring it back to your community. Like I don't know, I can just repeat over and over again how important it is.
I so agree. You know, I think traveling is so key, and that's why like traveling is so crucial to like building your business, because you meet new people and you see how things are done in other countries, other cities, other whatever, and other communities, and you're able to grow from that. And I feel like, you know, I didn't even have like really a love for my hometown until I left to another country.
Same.
I remember after I graduated college, you know, I was just kind of in this place of like, I've just been doing this for the last 5 years. I'm so like, I need something different or else I'm gonna go crazy, you know. And a lot of my family didn't understand like that, because in their mind it's like you graduate college, you get a job, and then you start working from there. And it's like, oh my god, I couldn't do that, because
only if it was that easy.
I would have gone crazy, right? And so my thing was like, I graduated and then I planned on leaving, and I went to Peru for like a month, and then from there it was also like connecting with like family in San Diego and Bakersfield. So it was like this trip of like a month and a half, where it's just like I had to just leave and just kind of, you know, get my mind off of like the last 5 years of like working and being in that routine, right? And so it was difficult, because I learned that as even though I wanted to go hella far in my mind, I was like, I'm gonna go to Peru, and I saw myself in Peru. And even when I was there, I recognized like you can't run away from your problems. Like whatever you have going on inside of you, you can go as far as you want to go, but you're still gonna deal with shit, you know. And so I remember like being freaking in Peru, and like the nice part of, there's like Lima, the capital, and like the nice part of Lima is like Miraflores, which is like the richy part. And so I was there, and it's like next to the beach, and I remember just like sitting at a bench freaking bawling my eyes out, crying, you know, dealing with just like okay, like I had just graduated, that was a win for me, but at the same time dealing with like a lot of depression and sadness connected with like, you know, family, and just like a lot of trauma that I had gone through that I had to just let go of, you know. And so how is that connected to my business? Well, you know, it just comes back to that conversation that we're talking about in terms of like, we need to be mentally okay to be able to do this for the long run, right? Because we care about what we're doing, and so we see it. Like, I think that for you it's probably the same, but I see myself doing this over a lifetime, and so I have to be really smart about how I move and how I take care of myself, because I have to be sustainable, right? I can't just burn myself out in the next 5 years and let me just do all this stuff and let me get it done, you know, because I have to think long term. And I want HayStack Mujer to be associated with just like, you know, the highest echelon of like, this is where you go to talk about, to show your art. This is where you go to talk about culture. This is where you go to talk about business. This is where it's at. Rosada's where it's at when you need to talk about social justice, you know, or making changes in the community or what have you, right? Because that's just what I want to be around the world, right? And again, I do it because like you, when I was 16, I was like starving for a mentor and wanting like, is there anybody in my city that can like, because I'm depressed, I'm anxious, I'm like, fuck, I'm drowning in all of this crap that I didn't feel like I had anyone to go to, right? And so I want to be able to build something where other girls of color that are queer, that, you know, feel like they're on the sidelines, they could feel like, oh shit, like, damn, dude, Rosaura's from Hayward, and like, you know, she like she made something happen, right? And so I can attest to that feeling of feeling like so hopeless and so like not giving a shit about your hometown, not feeling like you don't matter. And that's nothing could be further from the truth. It's like we have so much power as people. We just need to be given the right tools and have the wherewithal to be able to move forward, you know?
Yeah. And it's crazy to think, like, at least from the Bay, from Silicon Valley in general, but like from the Bay, like how, not even how, because it can happen anywhere, but there are so many kids, youth who suffer through depression, who go through anxiety at such a young age that it's becoming the norm. Adults are seeing it as like, oh, it's fine, it's because, or some people would be like, you're not stressed, you're not depressed, just go to school.
Right.
And that's really unfortunate. And there's some people, like I mentioned, find it the norm. It's like, oh, it's okay, like you'll be fine in an hour, or you'll be fine when you come back. Like, why can't we solve the problem? Why can't we figure out the root of it? Why can't we figure out like why this is going on? But being an entrepreneur, like pushing through it, is like we are the example. And I feel like, yeah, like I do inspire myself, because there are times I'd be like, I'll be like so frustrated with like things not getting done, maybe at like a pace I want, but I'm like, bruh, myself 5-10 months ago, I know I just said 5-10 years ago, but 5-10 months ago, would be so proud of myself as to where I am right now, at this very spot that I'm like crying and moaning about. Myself so many months ago would be envious of what I have right now. So I just need to be mindful, just reminding myself to be mindful all the time. I get negative. It's just like reminding myself where I am, because like I've been so many places worse, and like we've overcome so much that it only makes me want to continue, because there are other young adults, teens, kids, whatever, who are going through what I went through, what we went through, and they're just not speaking about it. But when they see us doing these things, creating podcasts, creating fashion lines, even like other people who also have a fashion line, I'm like shouting them out on my website, because I just want to encourage people to do whatever they want. Like, it shouldn't be like, oh, I'm gonna hate on them because they're doing the same thing that I'm doing. It's just like, nah, come over. When we're like recycling our money amongst each other, it's like, it's not going to waste.
Right. Yeah, that local economy that you're talking about, like that creation of that is so key, you know, because I think that that's how we start to kind of move beyond, that's how we fight gentrification, like really, like we need to be able to come together and stop seeing each other as foes, and instead like, dude, if y'all want to stay in San Jose, like let's work together to support each other so that we can make that happen. And the same goes in Hayward, you know. I have dealt with a lot of frustrations of like wanting to reach out to people sometimes, and they just don't, they just don't give me the respect that I feel like I deserve, right? And it's just like kind of reminding myself, like, you know what, I'm just gonna keep working until you can't ignore me. Like, if that's how you want to fucking act, then all right, act like that, you know. But I'm just gonna keep, I know what my worth is, and it's taken me so long to get to this place in my mind of like, I know my worth, I know I deserve respect and dignity, and I'm not gonna allow myself to be treated any less, you know. And it's probably going back to that conversation of like, have you ever heard dress not for the job you have, but the job that you want. Yes. So I totally like, I get that shit. It's like, you know, just because we're not where we want to see ourselves just yet doesn't mean that we're not going to get there. It's just a matter of like consistently doing the work and being patient. You know, Kendrick Lamar talks about like careers take off, you just have to be patient. It's like, all right, like let me just take my time, let me just breathe, let me take care of myself, you know, because there's so much stuff in building a business that it's like all that, like for me personally, it's like, you know, trying to save receipts of whatever I purchase, you know, trying to talk to tax people to start to move in that direction, trying to think about licenses that I might need, you know, handling my website, handling the social media. There's so much that getting the clientele, which is like a whole other conversation, like making sure that you have a pipeline of clientele that are consistently funding your business, because that's the heart of any business, right? So there's so much that goes into building a business that we can get caught up in just that and not take care of ourselves, you know, like not sleep enough or not give ourselves food, nutritious food, not just food, but nutritious food that's going to fuel us in a positive way. There's so much, and so we need to have that balance of being able to take care of ourselves, because if we go down the drain, then what was all this for? Like,
exactly. It's like, okay, so we all, not all, but like a lot of us have like not even normal, but like essentially you have like somewhat of a 9-to-5 job, or you have somewhat of a job, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, it's like at that job, if we think about it, that company is so big, we are so replaceable. If we were to pass away and our family had to like let our job know, yes, they may give our condolences, but they're gonna have to hire somebody else. So why not, if we're gonna like work till our death, why not work on something that you have passion for, something that you have love for? Because essentially work is work. Whatever makes money, essentially, work is work. But it's better to do something that you love, because one, it makes you feel better, it keeps you healthier than you being like stressed somewhere else, like your health deteriorating and all this other stuff going on in your head. Like, I mean, you can even have both if you need a balance. I'm not saying like chop off one to have the other, but you can have both. You just need like some type of balance to be like mentally there, because this is like running a business. If it's something like you're passionate about, something you want long term, like you mentioned, it's something like you have to give your all to.
You do. You do. And it's okay to take breaks. But at the same time,
because those are healthy too.
Right. But at the same time, like, how do you make sure that your business is always at the forefront of like people's views, so that they keep seeing like, oh shit, she's working, like she keeps working, like damn, like how do I get in on the ground level? Because obviously she's headed in a trajectory of like, fuck, like she's really gonna do something. So then how do I make sure to support her at the beginning, right? And so these are just the types of conversations that I have in my mind, right? And that's the way I function too. If I see somebody especially, I'm always gonna have a bias with people from Hayward. Like, that's just what it is. Like, if I see you and you're from Hayward and you're doing something, I'm gonna want to connect with you, because it's like, fuck, dude, like how can I help you? Because obviously you're trying to do something. And it goes beyond Hayward, obviously, because we're connecting. But just anybody that has that type of drive of like wanting to do something more than just the regular 9-to-5 rat race, like there's something to be said about that, because not a lot of people think that way. There's a lot of people, but not a lot of people. Like, so when you do see somebody in your life that's doing something, it's like, fuck, like I want to connect with you. Like, how can I help you? How can we work together? How can we build together? You know, so that we can all kind of reach. I think there's enough space. There's just enough capacity. There's so much possibility and so much capacity for us to reach where we want to reach. It's just a matter of like supporting each other. It
is possible. It is so possible, because you see people dropping like $300 on a Kanye concert. You see people dropping $300 on a Beyonce concert. You see people dropping hundreds of dollars on a Drake concert, hundreds of dollars on a SZA concert. But they're hesitant, or they question when you want to charge for something.
Right.
Whether it's my merchandise, or whether it's your music, or like your events. It's like people like to question what you're putting out there, but then they don't question the hundreds of dollars, or the hundreds of dollars they're spending at EDC or all these EDM concerts. Like, people, the money is there, the funds are there, the means are there. It's just, again, being able to put yourself out there, identify your worth, and like getting people to realize your worth. That's the hard part. And because, like you said, like, it's out there. The people are out there. We're out there moving around from city to city, from state to state. Like, we are making those moves. Are others making it possible for us?
Yeah, and I think
maybe that's not the right words to put it, but it's like, you know, it's not easy.
Right.
Like, it's out there. it's not hidden at all.
Right.
Because you see another concert, you see, or like your friend just bought a new car after she got her taxes. Like, bro, you did not have the money to buy that car. And I had a sale on my whatever, and you were just like, girl, I wish I had money for that.
Dude.
But you over here, you just got your taxes paid, and this is the first thing you bought?
Right.
Or you on Amazon how many times a day? How many times did you buy something on Amazon Prime?
Right.
And then what did you support? Okay, no, that's where we have a problem. If we that close of friends and you shopping on Amazon and you have yet to buy anything from me, but you're like, support is a verb. Like, support is like, okay, what can I attend for you? What can I, even a donation, I'm not asking you to buy anything all the time. Sometimes I'm just be like, hey, can you share this? Can you share a post? That costs you nothing. You're on social media anyways. You're forwarding me someone's outfit anyways. You're forwarding me an event anyways. Like, why can't you just share something? Yeah. So getting people like active, getting people like motivated is, I guess, one of our keys to running a business as an entrepreneur. Yeah. Because again, like, it's out there. The money's out there. The people are out there. But getting people involved in what you're doing is the challenge.
Yeah, I know. I totally wholeheartedly agree, dude. Just the whole... Yeah, and I totally appreciate anybody who's ever given money to HayStack Mujer for me to just keep doing what I do. Because honestly, like, I know what I'm doing, and I'm consistently trying to get better at my craft, so that I can keep doing what I do. But I definitely appreciate the people that have given money, because it's like, obviously you see something in me that sometimes it's hard, like, mentally for us to get ourselves to that. Because I know it's taken me a long time to, like, I know that I want to start my own business. I want to do this. I want to do that. But mentally, it takes a while for us to kind of get to that place of, like, I believe in myself and I can really do this. And thankfully, I'm there in that place now of, like, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm good at. I know what value I have. So I need to stop selling myself short, you know, and truly believe. And if I'm telling you this price, it's because that's the price. Like, that's just what it is. Like, you know, and I'm done with, like, having guilt and having, like, oh, maybe it's too much. But no, it's like, I have to pay my fucking bills. I need to take care of my family. Like, there's plenty of money out there, and I'm a good person. Like, I'm not going to allow myself to be screwed over. Like, I love myself too much to get undervalued, you know, because it's not fair to me, right? And so I think a book that really helped me is Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone. He talks about he essentially talks about selling, and he breaks down, like, the selling process. And I actually have it written down. So sell or be sold, number one. So just selling, like what is the process of selling? You greet the person, you determine their wants and their needs. You select the product and present to them, and you build value. Then you make the proposal, and then you close the transaction, or the buyer exits, right? And it's even putting together that understanding of, you need to have a really strong, healthy, thriving sales pipeline of people that are in one of those 5 categories of, like, you're slowly moving them in the direction of selling to them your product, or you just need to determine, you know what, like, or even not allowing yourself to, like, you know what, I can't sell. It's like, no, like, I believe in my product too much to know that if you buy into me, like, you're gonna come out winning. This is a wise investment. So even getting rid of all that doubt and just kind of believing, like, no, I can do this. Like, you need this. Like, you're gonna have more value to your business. It's gonna benefit you, right? And so I've just been learning so much, and I just appreciate, like, my support system and the people that I get to talk to about this, you know, because not everyone's on this wavelength of, like, being an entrepreneur and selling, and it's hard. It's fucking hard. You have to confront so much about yourself, because it could be easy to just live the 9-to-5 life the rest of your life, but are you going to be happy truly?
Right.
I'm not.
It's really easy, because they tell you when to be there, they tell you when to leave. 2 weeks to 4 weeks later, you get a check. Working for yourself, it's just kind of like, not kind of. It's like, no one's going to tell you when to start working.
Nope.
No one's going to tell you when to stop working.
Yeah. So
it's like, some days you'll be like, well, dang, it's like 3 o'clock. It's late. Like, you should have been started working. Some people may think that I'd be like, no, you have the rest of the day. Like, you can start working right now. So it's like, when you're working for yourself, you don't really have someone to tell you what's right and what's wrong, what's enough, what's not enough. But essentially, the results, you're going to feel much better about your results when you work for yourself than you did about, like, the check that you made 2 or 4 weeks within whatever your pay period is. But working for yourself is so much more rewarding. It's a lot more work, but it's a lot more rewarding.
Right. And that's so true. Like, you have to have that self-discipline as well. For me personally, like, I've been practicing trying to get up. It's still not perfect, but getting up early, going on my early morning walk, getting my mind clear, and then being able to come back, shower, eat breakfast, and just, like, focus myself on, like, answering emails, or just, like, like I said, like, just breaking down how much do I want to make in a month. Okay, well, how much does that mean per day if I'm counting, $5,000 a month? If I divide it by 30, it's $167. Okay, every day, how do I make those $167 so that I reach my financial goal? It's not easy. It's not fucking easy, because no one's is giving you a deadline. No one's nothing. Like, you have to find it within yourself to be like, you know what? This is the life I chose. This is a lifestyle that I'm trying to. There's a certain lifestyle that I'm trying to attain, of being able to be free, because eventually what I want to do is travel, is like be able to go different places and just keep working. Like, I can just keep working as long as I have my laptop, my phone. I can keep working and I'll be doing different things, but it takes time to get to that place, and so just how do you build, how do you keep finding ways to just create that lifestyle for yourself? Because no one's coaching you, no one's really there. It's really just you finding it within yourself to do this for yourself. Because why? Because you're not trying to work for nobody else. Like, you're trying to create something on your own empire, your own legacy,
Like you mentioned, it is the discipline. The self-discipline is so significant. Because honestly, when people are like, oh, what do you do for fun? I work on royalty all the time. What do you want to do? Work on royalty. Oh, do you want to hang out? Like, sometimes I'm like, if we gotta sit on your couch, I could be sitting on my couch and, like, working on royalty. Like, all the time. I'd be at the beach and be like, oh, I have a camera and I have my jacket on. Let's take a couple of pictures right quick. Yeah. Like, that is my life. That's because that's what I love. That's what entertains me. It also makes me money. Like, that's, I don't know, like, that's just me all the time. Like, I love working. Even when it comes to, like, I love working, whether I'm working for someone else or whether I'm working for myself. I've always, like, loved working. I've always had, like, a strong work ethic. But sometimes I always love who I work for. So when I work for myself, it just makes it all that much, like, oh, it's fine. I'm honestly sleep about 4 or 5 hours a night, give or take. Let's say 5 hours. We'll just make that the average. And before, I would be, like, annoyed. Like, oh my God, I only slept for 5 hours. Or I'd be, like, looking at the clock when I wake up. And honestly, I don't even do that anymore. One, it might be because, yes, I don't have roommates anymore. So I do just wake up and turn the lights on when I want to. But also, like, when I wake up, I just roll over and start working on royalty. Whether it's because I fell asleep on my laptop or just reach under the bed and pull out my laptop. Like, I'm always constantly working on my business. People be like, why don't you have cable or something? Because I don't have cable in my place. Because, like, that 30-minute episode that I just watched, I feel like could have went to my business. Right. Like, exactly, I always think of it like that. I'm like, nothing is more positive. Nothing I could be doing is, like, more positive, essentially, than working on my business. Because I'm not hurting anyone. I'm making money. I'm being productive. Name a better activity. And even, like, when you mentioned, like, traveling, like, you want to work and be able to do what you do. Like, I love that. I love that. Even when I was in Hawaii, as long as I had my laptop, I could still be working on websites. I could still be building or creating business cards. Like, and I was, like, on the beach. But if I didn't want to and I wanted to leave the laptop in the hotel for a day or for a couple of hours, like, that was there too. Because, like you mentioned, say you wanted to make $5,000 a day. I mean, $5,000 a month, which is $160 a day. Imagine you made double that in one day. It's like, okay, I can put my laptop away. It doesn't really matter if I miss this day because I'm here to relax. Obviously, you're not going to take a vacation if you don't have the means to take the vacation. But if you are on vacation and you do have work with you, that's, like, an option that is there. And that's enjoyable. It's not like, okay, like when I was working for somebody else and we went to, like, Colorado. It was beautiful. It was snowy. They had music. They had an open bar. But you're there for work, so you can't really do what you want to do. Yeah, there's an open bar, but you can't turn up like you want to turn up. Like, yeah, there's snow and everything, but you have to, like, be back at a certain time to attend a certain meeting. So it's like when you work for yourself and you can say I went to go to Colorado and like have my hot cocoa 1 hour, turn up the next hour, and then hit the ski slopes another couple of hours. Like that's there for you. So working for yourself, it's so beneficial. It's hard because you don't have like that direct discipline. You don't have you still have deadlines. You just have to create them yourself. You just have to be on top of it more yourself.
And hold yourself accountable to actually meeting them. Yeah.
She okay?
I think it's good. Yeah.
For sure.
I think my mom just dropped a glass. I think she should be good.
Oh my god, I was just grocery shopping and I dropped a candle in the store and the employee looked at me and he walked away and I wasn't supposed to chase him down and be like, hey, you gotta go sweep this up. But I just like kind of walked away and tried to tell like a different employee because the employee who saw me clearly didn't want to clean it up.
Dude. He just rid himself of the problem. He just walked away.
Just like that. I was like,
wow. He probably fucking hates his job.
Probably.
Like, dude, I've been there. Like, I fucking, like, oh my god, I went to KFC yesterday and every time I go to KFC, that was my first job. So every time I go to KFC, I'm like, fuck, I used to work here.
Really? On
the drive-thru, taking people's orders. I fucking hated it. Like, it was like 16 through 20 years old that I was there. I was there for 4 years. So it's like, there's people really that are like, they do this. Like, this is what they have. And like, this is I don't know. It's just so sad. Like, not the people working there, but it's so sad to me, a life where you think that's all you can do. It's like, no, we have so much capacity. Like, we can do so much. But like, going on what you were saying, like, it is very hard to work for yourself. It takes a lot of discipline. But it's worth it. It's really worth it once you find your groove, especially once you start making the money that you feel like you need to be making for you to really feel like, all right, cool, like I can pay my bills, I can do this. Right. It's like that's the promised land, right? Like, because I mean, there's nothing else quite like it. Like, for you to be your own boss, to be making the money that you think you should be making. Like, I really, really hope that anybody who has questions or anything like that, like, can reach out to us and like connect with us about our journey. Because now it's gonna be 2018. It's gonna be 3 years in April that I started. No, it's gonna be 2 years. Because I started in April 2018. So it's going to be 2 years in April that I like officially launched. So it's like, dude, just keep, because come on, like, businesses take a while. Like,
they do. A year ago
Jesus
is when I started working on, not launched, but I started working on royalty.
Because I remember when I met you at Debug, you had already brought it up. Like,
right, but when I brought it up, I was like just drawing. I was just sketching drawings of it. I didn't like have a set, like, this is gonna be my logo. I was just like drawing things. Like, I feel like this should be my brand. Like, I was just like talking about it. I guess I manifested it because I just spoke about it like it was already there. But yeah, it was in this, so I guess 2020 of April would be like the 1 year of it being launched. But yeah, it takes a lot of time. Success does not happen overnight. Revenue does not happen overnight. Nope. It takes so much time, and everything is such a process, from finding a logo, from designs, from deciding if you want a business card, to creating a business card, or finding somebody to create the business card, to essentially, do I want a website? How do I want it to look? Do I want to hire somebody to do, like, each step of the way as an entrepreneur, we wear so many hats. Or if you read the royalty website, we wear so many crowns as an entrepreneur that it's crazy. That there's so much work to do. Whether it's when you work for a company, your job is to do that one specific thing. Or maybe you might wear multiple hats in that one position. But as an entrepreneur, you have so many tasks, from scheduling to getting inventory, to processing inventory, to doing orders, to like organizing, planning. Like, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. And most of the time, there's only one of us. Per business. So
until you grow your team,
that comes later. But then you have like that process of like finding people, hiring people, trusting people. Because more than likely, the first 3 people that you hire are not going to be with you in like 5 years. Because something's going to go on, they're going to grow out of you, or you're just not going to need them anymore. But that's a process within itself, is building a team. Like, even creating a team is not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a couple weeks. Even if that's including if you hire friends and family. Like, that team is not going to be solid for a while. Right. So everything just takes a process, which is why every little thing when it comes to business, coming out with new product or new content, that's why it takes a while. At least, like, for a good quality product, is just that.
One of the things I learned through this process is, like, I feel like I might have already known this, but it made it so intentional. Like, what you're saying in terms of, like, you have to wear so many hats and do so much. So it's like, I learned about myself, like, fuck, dude, I'm hella talented. Like, I have so many skills, because, like, I was able to build my website through Squarespace. I was able to design my business card and have it printed. I was able to take my logo is pretty much like I staged it. Like, it's my hand, and, like, I took a photo of it and everything. And it's like, just, you know, it just kind of showed me, like, I have so much capacity to build what I have already built, that, like, I'm just excited to keep going and to keep building and to keep showing, like, my best foot, like, putting my best foot forward and showing my talents and my skills, you know, so that other people can understand, like, oh, fuck, like, I can do that too, you know. But with that, I just want to, if you have any final words, any final, like, anything that you want to say about Recognized Royalty.
Honestly, everyone has talent, skill, purpose, like something that they're good at, whether they know it or not. But it's just having faith within yourself that you have that purpose, that you have something to offer to the world. So never discount yourself. Don't discount other people, because you don't know what they're capable of. Always know that you have value. Don't ever forget that you have value. Don't let someone else try to diminish your value. Just because someone else may not see it, that doesn't mean it's not there. Always hold yourself high. Hold your head up high. Don't think of yourself as anything less than royalty, because you aren't anything less. That's pretty much all that royalty is.
Sweet. Awesome. Well, this is Imani from Recognized Royalty. We're going to link to your Instagram and your website, so if anybody wants to reach out, please connect with Imani. She's in San Jose. She's a really dope person to connect with. If y'all have any questions for me, I'm Rosaura from HayStack Mujer, and we're just going to keep building. Honestly, we're just going to keep working.
Always.
Y'all will see. Just keep working. So, peace out.
Sure.
Hey.
Before you leave, I did want to give you a jacket.
Yes, girl. Thank you so much, dude.
No problem.
This jacket's dope. Hell yeah.